Hi, everyone. So I want to take a few minutes to briefly review the material that I went over in the Zoom live session with a few students yesterday. If you had trouble getting into Zoom because your account wasn't working or there was some other issue, please reach out to me on the chat and let me know what issues you have. That way I could direct you to find a solution to it so that if there is a live session again in the future, you'll be able to come in and join us. So I'm just going to go over the presentation that I showed those few students, and if the last lesson confused you, this might help clear up that confusion, or uh, it might add to the understandings that you already came out with. So here we have the image that you started off looking at, right? This is Tupi Saravia. She's a Instagram influencer, and she, mainly posts travel photos and videos. And as you look at the two pictures and read the article, the issue is that at some point somebody noticed that, every single picture it seems like there is this cloud that is exactly the same. And when you look at these images of her, right, you see the same cloud in each picture, and people realized she's photoshopping those clouds in. And there was a reaction against it. Now, when you read the article, she pointed out how she was kind of shocked that people were responding the way they were with the anger, because she said she never hid the fact that she photo edits her pictures to make them look better. But regardless, people accused her of being fake. And what it brings out is this whole issue of um, fake versus real on the internet. Now, when you watch the video "How to Me," right, the man in the video, Chase, talking about his online self and how it starts to differ from his offline self. And he attributes that split in his identities because of the pressure that posting on digital media and especially social media can do, right? He talks about how if you post something and that particular post gets you 100 likes, well, now you got to post something that's going to try to get those amount of likes again. And if, let's say, you post something and you get 200 likes, now you're going to try to beat that the next time. And the point is, that's where the split starts to happen, right? You start posting more and more extreme content to keep your audience there. And at the same time, your audience wants more of it. Now, the students that I talked to, I did ask them this side question. Chase makes this claim in the video. He makes one of those, like, back in the day when your parents were growing up, type comment. And he says you more or less had one self, meaning he said back in the day, you were who you were with your family and maybe the people in your community. But the point is you had pretty much one self, and you didn't have this split like the internet is causing. Um, Sometimes we have to challenge that a little bit. So I asked the students, do you agree with his claim that back in the day you more or less had oneself? And what I want to bring out, even though this isn't the focus of the lesson, is that Chase is talking from his perspective. And as you can see here on the right, conversations about having oneself change when you start talking about other types of identities. So, for example, Chase, before he got on the internet, he might feel that, oh, you have oneself. But if you use this example here we have a black queer woman, right? Well, she lives in a neighborhood and she has a family. And maybe her family is not okay with her lifestyle. So she has to act one way with her family. But then when she's walking through her neighborhood and she goes into the store that is owned by white people, she also has to act a different way. Maybe she'll speak a little differently. Or she goes into the store and she has to be a little more careful because she feels like she's being watched because they might think she's, going to take something, which is not true. The point is, for this black woman here, she might not get to act with one identity, right? One self. So what I was pointing out to students is that Chase is speaking from privilege, right? Chase is he's a white male, so he can move about his country, in this case New Zealand or America, and pretty much be his one self, whereas other people, whether you're black, Latin, Native American, you don't get to do that all the time. So I just want to point that out. Chase is speaking from privilege, and that's why he gets to say that, oh, you had, back in the day, you had oneself. Yes, as a white person, but it's not the same for every group. But the point is, right, and what Chase brings out, is that when it comes to social media, or just the internet in general, both the user and the audience are pushed and pulled to more extreme content. I jump off a cliff into the water, I get 1,000 likes, which means maybe next time I'm going to jump off of a higher cliff to get more likes. And again, what happens is your online version of yourself becomes even more separated from maybe how you live in real life. Meaning, if you only get likes when you take a picture of yourself smiling, and let's say you're having a really bad day and you are not happy, but you want to post a picture, you'll post a picture of yourself smiling even though that isn't how you feel, right? And that's the point he's trying to make. So you had this quote in step 3, and it says, "Everything that once seemed unquestionably real now seems slightly fake. Everything that once seemed slightly fake now has the power and presence of the real. The fakeness of the current internet is more a particular quality of experience." So what is that experience? And the author says, the sense that what you encounter online is not real, but is also undeniably not fake. So on its surface, it sounds like a really weird statement. Wait a minute, how can that be? But what the author is saying here is that the problem with the internet is that we can't say it's entirely not real, but at the same time, we can't say it's entirely fake. And I'll give you an example of what I mean. Again, here's the quote, part of the quote right next to here. So if we look at these two pictures, right, here's a picture taken in Thailand, I believe, of this person doing a handstand. Now, if you're the viewer and you just see that picture, you see this amazing moment where this woman is doing this perfect handstand and she seems calm and serene, and you look at that and you say to yourself, wow, she is amazing, or that's so awesome that she can do that. But then when you pull away, right, which you, the viewer, have no idea, when you pull away, this is what's really happening. So is she doing a handstand? Yes. Is it entirely real? No, because her friend is holding her up. But is it entirely fake? Not entirely. Or if we look at this picture of the couple, right? We've seen photos like this. Well, two people holding hands, she's smiling, seems like an amazing moment. And we never say to ourselves, wait a minute, how'd they even get that picture? Well, again, if we are looking at it from a different perspective, we see that the only way that they were able to get that picture was the friend to get on the back to get at that angle and then take it. And again, is it entirely fake? No. They're both smiling, they're both holding hands, but what we don't know is the friend on the back trying to take the picture, so it's not entirely real either. Here's some more examples. Here we have this beautiful image of rain dropping on an umbrella, but then when we look at the picture on the bottom, this is what the photographer had to do in order to create that beautiful effect. So again, is it real? Yes. Entirely real? No. Is it completely fake? No. Or take this wedding picture. If you didn't see that picture on the bottom, you would think this is a beautiful photo of a married couple, maybe standing on the edge of a pond or a lake, something beautiful. But then when you look at the picture on the bottom, you see the photographer here taking a picture on the ground overlooking a puddle, meaning this is no lake, this is a puddle. Are they married? Yes. Are they there experiencing this beautiful moment? Absolutely. Is this a pond or a lake? No. So again, not entirely real, not entirely fake. Here's another example. So back in 2018, many makeup people and beauty vloggers, they wanted to bring out how much work goes into it. So, we watch a video of a makeup tutorial or a beauty vlogger, and it might be a 5-minute video, and we're amazed by like what people are able to do with their makeup in what feels like a short amount of time. And we watch it and we just think about how amazing their life is and how awesome they are. But what they were trying to do in this Instagram versus real life trend was point out how much work actually goes into it. So for this woman, right, the idea was you paint, or you use your makeup to put around your eye, and then you paint the Instagram page around it. And by doing this, you're bringing attention to the fact of, hey, this is how I look, and this is how much work I have to do in order to create those videos. The point is, as a society, we like it when the lines between real and fake are easy to see. Just like on the GIF here, right? Mickey has this entire fake setup, but he can fold it back and we see what the city looks like behind it. It's clear, and we can say, oh, wow, this was a lie, right? Take these images, for example. Over the summer, when the Black Lives Matter protests were happening, this picture circulated of Kendall Jenner, of her holding a Black Lives Matter sign. And then somebody pointed out that, oh, wait a minute, you don't see the sign in the shadow here. And of course, people, started blasting her and criticizing her on social media. But what people realized is, wait a minute, this is actually the fake picture. This is the real picture that was taken a long time ago. And what happened is somebody photoshopped the Black Lives Matter poster into her hands, and then they photoshopped a mask on top of her because of the pandemic. Here's the thing. People believed this more than they believe this. And what's the reason? A student, Arlene, had talked about the Kardashians a lot, and she talked about how, over the years, the Kardashians had become more fake. So because there's that perception that the Kardashians are fake, people were more willing to believe the lie than they were willing to look for the truth, right? Because if you look at this picture carefully, you could see a water bottle in her hand, and you could tell from the picture that her fingers are not on the sign itself. And if you look at on the right here, you could also tell that her hands are not gripping anything, meaning there's no way she could hold this poster. And when you look at it, you could see it's clearly Photoshopped. But the point is, what was getting in people's way is the fact that they already thought she was fake. And because of that, they were willing to believe that she would do something like this rather than look for the truth. So that's an example, again, of, when we find out that something is entirely fake, then we can easily see the truth, as we could see on the right. But then here's the problem. What happens when everything is blurry? So this photo, when the Lion King movie came out, trended on social media. And it was also the cover in a magazine. I forget which cover, but a famous magazine. So this is the entire cast of The Lion King. And, people thought the photo was amazing because this is some of their favorite actors and actresses all in one place. John Oliver, who's the man right here. He's a talk show host. He went on a talk show one night to talk about the movie, and the interviewer asked him about how awesome it was to be in that photo. And John Oliver goes, well, it's not quite what you think. And basically what John Oliver did on TV, and nobody else knew this, John Oliver said there was one person who was never present for the photo. They were never there. And when I asked the students who they thought it was, one person got it right. Yeah, it was Beyonce. Beyonce never showed up to this photo shoot. They literally photoshopped her in to make it seem like she was there. If you remember in the film, Beyonce, she played one of the characters, and she also did music for it. But yeah, she wasn't able to attend the photo shoot. But the reason people were so excited for this photo is because of Beyonce's presence. And the irony is that Beyonce was the only one who was never there. Now, some people might look at it and say, well, that's no big deal. There's no harm to that. But what we have to ask ourselves, is there harm to that? Because the point of what this reveals is that it's getting harder and harder to tell the difference between what is real and what is fake. For example, I talked to the students about Trump, and we all know that Trump lies. I don't think if I don't think most people would say that Trump is an honest person, right? They know he lies. So because it's this weird thing where because they know he lies so much, they can easily see it coming. On the one hand, this is what bothers people the most because they're so willing to believe it's real, and their inability to tell that it's fake causes confusion. And one of the big questions we're asking ourselves here with government is, what happens when we can no longer tell the difference between what is real and what is fake? What does that cause in society? And what we ended the lesson on discussing was how when people can't tell the difference between what is real and what is fake, it makes it much easier for people to be manipulated into believing things that they shouldn't believe, into believing things that simply aren't true. So that's our inquiry question for our first unit in government is, what does it mean to be a citizen in a digital age, and especially in an age where the truth and lies on the internet are much harder to see? Now, before I end, I want to make this clear. This lesson is not to say, oh, social media is bad and the internet, it's all lies and we can't trust it, stay off the internet. No, it's not that at all. The internet is a really good thing. Social media, as you're going to see in future lessons, is a powerful thing that has done a lot of good. But the question we're raising as we start our government course is, the internet is a powerful space. It's a space that has been used for good, but it's also a space where there are a lot of problems. And as we saw throughout this lesson, the problem is people are having trouble figuring out what is real and what is not real. And as I said, when that happens, it makes people in power, it makes it a lot easier for them to manipulate and get people to believe what they want to believe. So this is the lesson that introduces some of the themes in this unit and what we will be exploring, because at the end of the day, your experience with government is mainly going to be through the internet. You are a digital citizen, just like Chase brought up. He said he's a digital citizen of Snapchat. You guys are all digital citizens of TikTok and Snapchat and Instagram. Just think of how people were able to use TikTok to troll Trump over the summer and get people to buy tickets to his Oklahoma convention who were never going to go. So like I said, you're going to experience government on the internet and through this digital age, and that's where we're going to focus on this unit. So I hope this lesson clears up any confusion you might have had as you did the assignment. If you haven't turned it in yet, please take the opportunity to fix anything if you feel it needs to be fixed, or improve your answers if you feel they can be improved. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me on the chat. All right, everybody, have a good night.